It's the final
So, just like I told y'all,
battle.
Black Lives Matter was going to destroy our communities. And they was going to use our communities. Now, listen to these latest statistics that just came in.
Now being blamed for a 32% spike in the murders of African Americans. The FBI Uniform Crime Report found that in 2020, some 9,000 black Americans were murdered. So we've seen an increase of 2,400 people, experts saying BLM protests, scared off police from doing their jobs. Yep. First of all, I don't think police get scared off from doing their jobs. I don't think they get supported in some cases. But what's your take on that? Black Lives Matter, not a positive impact on what happens in the community.
Well, you know, Bob, it's interesting. I saw this coming from day one. As a matter of fact, Sheriff Clark and I talked about this. We saw this way back in 15 and 16, where they were mobilizing to try to get this, quote, narrative to try to push back and, quote, defund the police. And you know as well as I know, we have sitting Congress people who stood with that and went out and helped to get bail for some of these people, etc. We knew factually where the money was coming from, who was getting it, and what type of organization it was. We knew that this was a fraud all along from day one. I just did a news conference down here today about this with Concerned Community of America, with other black pastors here at the Marriott.
So, basically what happened was our communities was doing so much better. I made videos about that over the past 3 to 4 years going back. So Black Lives Matter actually sold us out to the people that was willing to destroy our communities. You know what I'm saying? And our communities were successful in having a lot of peace because there was a lot of policing. So once they limit that policing and made the police not do their jobs the way they're supposed to do their jobs and be more timid police, it caused this self-destruct mechanism in the urban hoods. They basically knew what was going to happen by defunding the police because they defunded the police in Chicago. And they seen how that experiment worked out with the homicides going up in the urban communities. So they did the same thing on an international level, knowing the urban communities is going to increase the gun violence. The gun violence is going to go up and is going to promote more drill-type music from the local citizens. So Black Lives Matter set up the black people. This is a horrible thing that they're trying to do to the black community. Basically, instead of them trying to lobby against gun violence in the community with the minorities, they lobbying to defund the police, and the police was keeping the crimes down to a minimum, the shootings down to a minimum. So the closer we get to this Joe Biden fake presidency and the chaos, you notice that the police departments are not actually working how they usually work. But technically, if you look at that interview, that leaked information from Biden, he was basically telling you that he promised these people and these group organizers that he was going to defund the police. That don't make sense. I don't even know why black people would want to do that, knowing all of the gun violence that goes on in the black communities. So the only thing this going to do with what basically what this is going to do is cause more gun violence in the urban communities and the black communities. And I couldn't figure out what liberals get out of that. But that's the liberals' game plan. They basically, Lives Matter is funded by millionaire white philanthropists, and you know that, and they serve a purpose for their protests. So that's why you see Black Lives Matter is basically playing a political position for the Democratic Party. Okay, if Black Lives Matter was really not a political movement for the rich to try to steal black votes, then why is not Black Lives Matter that's Republican? Why every last Black Lives Matter protest and movement is for the Democrats? It just shows you that this is a script. So when you see people out there saying, yeah, Black Lives Matter, the big black guys are standing out there in all black walking around, those dudes is probably paid actors. They not community organizers. They not from the neighborhoods. Now they probably from the neighborhoods, but they're not active in their neighborhoods. They actually paid to be there to represent Black Lives Matter. And then you'll notice that they show these specific camera angles where they just showed a couple black people. But if you really look through the crowd, there's a whole bunch of white people behind them. And these are most likely liberals, because what the liberals do is the liberals like to come and help out the minorities in an effort to steal their votes. You understand what I mean? So what the liberals and the Democrats do is they support your effort and your struggle, especially in election season. And then Black Lives Matter is because Black Lives Matter is not pro-black. Black Lives Matter is basically it's ran by black people and they tackle black subjects, but Black Lives Matter is really dangerous because, see, when we have problems in the black community or the black world, you know, what will happen is Black Lives Matter will always stick themselves out in front of the situation.